And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday. Tomorrow is Halloween. As you are listening to this, it is Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Tyler, how are you today?
Yeah, happy Halloween, Brad. I am doing well today. It's so great to see you. What a week for both of us. Just week after week, there's always new joys, new challenges. Yeah, man, feeling very grateful to be here with you, and I want to know how you're doing.
Doing well. Everybody in the house is doing okay. I don't want to say great, but everybody's doing pretty well. We all have COVID, and this time, though, I didn't lose my voice. This time, I'm not coughing as much. We'll see. I haven't talked a lot in the last couple of days, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. This time was mild, stuffy city, and the fatigue has been really off the charts. And the COVID fog, the what am I doing here kind of thing has been next level. I went to the fridge yesterday to get something, and we've all had this experience. But I went to the fridge.
I think I know where you're going.
And I had no idea what I was getting when I got there.
Yeah.
But
I'm here for the Kit Kat, the Red Delicious Apple. What am I here for?
yes, pro tip: never put the apples in the fridge.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. I don't even put the apples in the fridge.
I was like, ooh, mealy apples,
carrots,
hell yes,
pineapple.
Yes,
okay.
Both of those.
These are all better options. Okay.
Pub dip, whatever it might be. I couldn't figure it out, and I put my phone in there and walked away. I don't know what the hell happened. I had it in my hand. So this is why it was next level. So I had it in my hand, and I just assumed like, shit, I got to put that in there. And I walked away and went, what did I just do? Where's my phone? And I used the thing on my watch. And then I heard it like a muffled ringing sound coming from the kitchen. I was like, okay. And then I heard it coming from the fridge, opened it up, and there it was.
Wow. I'm absolutely like hearing this for the first time. Just so everyone knows this. That's what a great example of how the week was for you. And you told me before we came on air, Brad, that the fog is sort of already there when you're not COVID positive, and now COVID that test just exacerbated some of the fog that already exists within you and maybe within a lot of us these days.
Yeah, it's been weird. Some fun things happened though over the break. It was like, well, I'm going to be stuck home. Freya's going to be stuck home. I kind of want to build this pirate ship. So I had a Lego pirate ship, Tyler. I got it in, I believe, 1990 or 1991. And it was up in my room for years. And then it, like, all that stuff moved to the basement. And then it was up in the basement in the kind of the same spots. My old dresser gimmick was there with all my toys in it. I just kept the Legos there. They were either underneath in this cabinet, on a little shelf, or on the very top of it where I kept the pirate ship, and just caked in dust. But when we moved, my parents moved out of the house. Jess's brother was like, he has hundreds of Lego sets. That dude's probably sitting on thousands of dollars worth of Lego sets. Like, some of these things are crazy. So I was looking up this pirate ship to find out, like, what it's even worth. Like, if I sold it, what would it be worth? It's like $900 or something for this thing. So I was like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and put it together.
That's significant.
Yeah,
900 bones. You said.
Yeah. So I got a hold of Jess's mom and was like, hey, if you're out in the garage and you find this pirate ship, I texted Brett, made sure he was fine with me taking it back. Basically,
Brett,
I said,
Brett's brother, right?
Yeah. I was like, go ahead. You can have these. I have nowhere to put them, so you can take them for the time being. And if I ever have kids, maybe I'll want them back. And lo and behold,
someday.
So I don't think he ever touched them. They were all in there, but she had all of my old Lego sets still in a bin, and she just brought them all over. And I was like, all right, well, what's all this stuff worth? And I'm going to start putting them together so I could see if I have a complete set, and then I could sell it as a complete set if I decide to. And there's missing pieces, and the only missing things are for the pirate ship.
Oh no!
And I'm so sad.
You hate to see it. No.
The entire bottom half of the boat is gone. So like all of the brown part of the boat and the sails are missing. So without those, it's kind of pointless. But yeah, so I just have a lot of bricks and masts and ladders and stuff, and can't do anything with them. But we're still gonna look. We're still gonna try in the other boxes and bins to see if there's anything in there. For all we know, it got stuck in a different set. But yeah, we're still holding out hope that we can complete the Black Seas Barracuda, which is what I've come to learn it is called. And they did a relaunch of it in like 2002. So maybe it was 92. Maybe it was like an anniversary year. Let's just re-release this pirate ship. And like if you had that one's worth like an incredible amount of money. If you have boxes for everything, or if you have the instructions and the boxes, my God, I did not know that there was this giant market for Lego. Had no idea.
Yeah, it's nuts. You and I remember last week we spoke about our respective figure collections for wrestling. And it's interesting. You and I sort of agree that on one hand, we hope that our figures will be worth something in 10, 20 years. But for our Funko Pop figures, we're not as optimistic that those are going to be worth the same money or hold the same value in a few decades. So like you said, it's hard to determine what's going to be a collectible that's really going to make bank, you know, if we hold on to it for 20, 30 years, and then what are some that are just going to not be worth as much. I think, Brad, you said last week, probably off air, that maybe Funko just sort of over flooded the market, and thus, you know, it's not going to be worth anything substantial.
Yeah. So I was like, what are the most valuable pieces?
Yeah.
For Lego especially, and the original ones from the 1950s.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, right. But after that, it's like all these one-offs or limited runs and stuff they sold at Comic-Cons or conventions of some sort, or they made a reproduction of the guy that invented Lego of his house. They made a Lego set of his house, I believe is what it was, or the building that he originally worked in, and they only made 30 of them. So they were given out at like a staff party or something. Those things are worth like a
at the staff
obscene amount of money.
The staff party gift bag. Who would have thought?
I mean, I would have been all over that. That's amazing. I would have just put that in a sealed box, hermetically sealed box.
Mid condition.
And yeah. So I think
it's nuts.
But at the same time, it's like, but you get to build all those things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun thing to do. So last night when I was trying to put together this, I don't remember what it's called, but it's Magnetron, M-Tron, little magnets, moving parts, and you can pick it up and stuff. Space deal. I realized how much fun it was to put it back together. I was like, actually, I'm having a really good time. I'm watching wrestling to get ready for today, and I got all these blocks out in front of me, and I'm just putting it together while I'm watching this Jade pull-up promo.
Oh my gosh. And the lighting of that segment.
Oh, incredible. Yeah.
Like the blue and the pink.
Yes.
Very, very GI centric, which I appreciated from Jade. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was doing all of that, I was like, this is pretty cool. This is great. And I'm legitimately doing it to see if I have the whole set. So if I can pick up and order extra parts if I need them, there's like Lego Pick-a-Brick, and you can order the parts that you're missing for the most part. If it's something big or specific, probably not. But if I can find some of the stuff, cool, I'm going to do that and put it all together, and then either save it for another 30 years from now, and then sell it on the black market or the brick market, whatever we're calling Lego things.
Yeah.
And hopefully make some money.
That sounds super cool. When you said, here in the description, sounds amazing. When you initially said Magatrons, I was worried that this was some nefarious invention by Carrie Lake and Ron DeSantis or something. So I'm glad it wasn't that. And yeah, man, that sounds super fun. But anyway, Brad.
The colors are red.
Okay, well, I think it's time then for us to move on. I actually have a question for you that is related to the color red. So, Brad, let's get into it. Some WWE talk. My first question for you, I have it written down here. I want to bring you back to Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Brad, do you remember what is significant about that date?
No.
Johnny Gargano made his return to Monday Night Raw. This past week, we saw him in the start of a feud, I guess we could say, with Baron Corbin and Baron Corbin's new mentor / manager, John Bradshaw Layfield. So Gargano ends up losing this match. He sort of morphed into this comedy character. And I guess you could argue he's really always been a comedy character. In NXT, he led the way, kind of a comedic stable, heel stable. He was a great babyface, main top guy babyface before that. But this just concerns me a little bit, his current usage. On one hand, I'm glad he's on TV, but I also didn't want a Gargano main roster run, including him dancing in a cowboy hat on main programming. I want him to just be a fantastic wrestler who's fighting for gold. So 2-part question for you. Do you share the same concern? And how would you alter the booking of Johnny Gargano to reinvigorate his main roster run? I don't know that crowds are really responding to him at the moment.
I don't think they know who he is. They never invigorated it. So he came in and the music hit and everybody was like, oh, this is awesome. But I don't know. Canada has smarter wrestling fans, Tyler. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
Like, they just do. Like, I don't know if it's
Canada
just
more.
Yeah, I think Canada tends to Canadian wrestlers tend to appreciate, or Canadian fans tend to appreciate wrestling more than the other stuff. So when you have an excellent wrestler show up and it's a debut and it's in Canada, which they're not there all the time. Like I think of it now, imagine if it was they go to Montreal, they go to Toronto. Okay, great. That's awesome. But they're in Canada for those events. They've never once gone like, America, what's up? Like never done that because they're always here. So I think you could send out Doink the Clown to a huge pop in Canada because they're just going to be excited to see a debut or a return of somebody because they're smart. And that was insulting because Doink sucked. But everybody knows that Johnny Wrestling is Johnny Wrestling. I think that was pretty apparent when he debuted. But Candace had the same level of interaction. Emma, like a wet fart of a debut. Also, why not just use Tenille Dashwood? I know they own the rights. They gave her a bad theme, and she's simply just Emma. What? So I think they're doing that a little bit too much. I don't think you can reinvigorate this. I think what they're trying to do right now is what they did with Nyla. Was they're trying to get Nyla over as a babyface by power bombing. Oh, what's her face? Can't remember her name. Lana, CJ Perry. But what was her name in WWE? It was Lana, right?
Lana, yeah.
It was Lana.
Shoot name CJ Lana? Perry. Just Lana.
Just Lana. Okay.
The ravishing Russian. Yep.
Yeah, I was like Lana. Huh? What's the last name? Just Lana.
Yeah, it feels like it's been so long ago.
Yeah,
right? I get you.
But Lana, Emma, one name thing. Madonna.
Sure.
I just don't get those things. So anyway, that turns out that in that interview, Lana said that, or CJ Perry said that they were trying to get Nyla over by repeatedly power bombing her through the table. So I feel like maybe they're trying to do this to make him a more sympathetic babyface, that he's fun loving and everybody really likes him and he's a fun character, but then he's going to get killed by these monster heels. I'm sure the idea is this will build them as a heel because everybody loves Johnny, and this will make Johnny a stronger babyface because we want to see him come back and beat the shit out of the heel. So, in theory, I think it's fine. I'm looking at Johnny right now as WWE's response to Orange Cassidy. Like, we don't have funny characters that can wrestle.
Wow.
Right?
That's quite the comparison. I didn't think about that.
He's obviously not lazy like Orange is. That's his gimmick.
He's not the King of Slaw style.
No, but like he's Johnny Wrestling, and Orange Cassidy is a really good worker, really good. we know Johnny can go. But Orange is over for being silly. Johnny he's a little bit goofy. I don't want to see him be a heel. I think he's a good babyface for the main roster, especially with Rebel Heart. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it needs fixing right now. Let it all play out, pal.
Well said. Yeah, I'm definitely not out on it completely, but like you, I think about the pop in Canada. Rebel Heart is back, and I think we do, as much as I hate to say it, we do have to let this one play out because if Triple H is booking, we know that he can book Johnny Gargano well. I mean, this guy was the top guy in NXT. Can't emphasize that enough. And B, for the current storyline, as much as this Baron Corbin storyline is not for me, if the whole gimmick is I have JBL here and we're on a crusade against independent wrestlers who, don't have the amateur record of Baron Corbin and they weren't Golden Glove boxers and blah, blah, blah. Of course, Johnny Gargano would be the perfect foil for all this. He is the exemplification of a guy on the indies who no one thought he could make it to WWE, but here he is now. So yeah, like you brought up, my hope is that Gargano ends up picking up the win over Corbin at some point down the line. It's probably even going past Survivor Series, I would guess. But yeah, the silliness for Cassidy and AEW, it's working for me. For Gargano this past Monday in the hat, dancing. Yes. I know we wanted to appeal to a younger audience, but it didn't hit for me.
He's been doing that sort of like aloof, I'm smarter than you, but I'm going to act dumb thing since he's been on the main roster and all of his promos where he does a lot of this. Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of, like, he just does that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't remember him doing that in NXT as a babyface though. It was
I don't either. But I also wasn't paying attention, so I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I think, let me ask you this before I get to my question. So I'm cheating. Johnny Gargano was there, right? Okay, great. Would that have been Adam Cole?
Probably. Under Vince McMahon, absolutely. Under Triple H, it's tough to say.
Would both of them be on there if you had an Adam Cole there already?
Yeah. It's a great question. In my mind,
well, probably Adam Cole would have been released by now.
Right? Yeah. I can't believe that.
It's so stupid.
Well, so Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole certainly had their own rivalry in NXT. In my mind, though, I don't know if this is unfair to Gargano. They're both amazing workers. To me, it would seem that Adam Cole's ceiling, his star power, is perhaps a little bit further above Gargano. But if you ask me the question, I think they would probably be in that same slot.
Yeah.
On the main roster. And I was really yearning for like an Undisputed Era being the top heel faction on SmackDown, or even Undisputed versus the Bloodline. Like, I think you could slot Adam Cole in the main event, but I know with his with Vince, no, with Triple H, I have hope that maybe he would actually be a notch above where Gargano is right now. But of course, that's all speculative on my part.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll never know, I guess. But
yeah, we just want him to get healthy and hopefully return to our TV screens if he can.
Adam Cole with all the concussions, I just hope he's back. But those guys, similarly sized guys,
yes,
both white dudes. One has short hair, one has long hair.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking from a look standpoint.
Oh yeah, very similar, like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, but I love both of them. I love Johnny. Johnny, I think is better for doing more backstage segments, where Adam Cole, I think, is somebody that can really get into the audience's head in a good or bad way.
Yeah. I mean, dude's so over, like the entrance. I think, like you said, both excellent workers. The entrance is probably what gives Cole a nod. There's just not many people who have it's like the Acclaimed, it's Adam Cole. Who else has the participatory element of their entrance? It's just so fun.
I'm so, man, I just, what a terrible year for injuries in AEW.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire Undisputed Era just gone, like evaporated, every bit of it.
Yeah.
Kenny
Elite,
out for
the
forever.
Elite evaporated on TV
gone.
This week, but yeah, exactly.
Adam Cole out with concussions, Kyle O'Reilly out with neck surgery, Bobby Fish out for being old. Like there's so many things that happened this year. It's crazy.
It's been a year. I think we could easily do like what'd you tell me about the Levitard? He would do the 24-hour special. I
Yes.
think we can have that just on wrestling.
Yeah.
Also, even just on, we're in our WWE section, so this is cheating, but even just on AEW, but heck, even just on WWE, the twists and turns of the year, I don't remember a year that has been so eventful as 2022, man. I know in a month or two we're gonna have a lot to talk about. We may need to consider that 24-hour marathon. I don't know if our bodies could handle it, but I will say that from a content standpoint, I think we could absolutely deliver.
Yeah, maybe that's our Christmas present this year. Yeah, we'll live stream it.
Yeah, maybe so.
Okay. My questions for you. I wrote 2 because I couldn't decide. One of them I wrote last night. One of them I wrote this morning when I saw the news, and I'm still pissed you saw the news. I was really hoping I'd be able to break it to you. And I think I'm going to Shinsuke here. But before I get to that question, this was my original question. Man, tag teams in WWE are in rough shape. So the Usos are made. But on SmackDown this Friday, the New Day took on Maximum Male Models, who seem to have absolutely no direction, and neither do the New Day. Is there a legitimate title contender right now, and what do they do to fix the division? And should the titles just be unified already? So that was my question, and we could talk about that if you want. But this is more important to me because it's much bigger news. This morning at a Sunday morning, I should say, at 1:21 a.m. Between 1:21 and then 1:43, depending on whether or not it was Noah or Shinsuke, tweeted out that some things are going down. So we know Sting is hopefully going to fight Great Muta in January for his last match, for Muta's last match. Shinsuke Nakamura is set to fight the Great Muta in Pro Wrestling Noah, I believe, on January 1st, 2023. I think this surprised everybody. I don't think this happens if Vince McMahon were at the helm, and I want your opinion. And I think it's incredibly promising. Tyler, do you expect more talent will be able to go on leave to work in other companies, or do you think this is the start of a cross-promotional anything with WWE and other promotions? Or is it just a one-off because Triple H respects the Great Muta?
Wow. Well, hopefully I'll put my fog up here to the side, and I'll remember all of what I want to say for your questions here. So yeah, very promising. No way does this happen under the previous regime in WWE. I could really see both, Brad. Either talent maybe having some more flexibility to go over, but also there could absolutely be a partnership. In fact, I'll answer by saying I'm going to lean toward the partnership. I think the competition now between WWE and AEW is very healthy. I think there's a motivation that's fueling Triple H, that's fueling Tony Khan to do more and be more creative. So I'm going to go partnership. I would love to see that. You're correct. I did see the tweet this morning as I was sort of recklessly scrolling because I didn't want to get out of bed yet. And the promotional art is amazing. The match is going to be so cool. So happy for Shinsuke. Frankly, Brad, I was going to ask you in my question. I was going to give you Johnny Gargano on Mondays and Shinsuke on Fridays. How do we make these guys bigger deals in more prominent positions? So I'm kind of glad I didn't ask you about Shinsuke. He did pick up the win this past Friday. He was Hit Row's mystery partner. He had the Kinshasa on one of the Legado members and won. But it still feels to me like, man, these are probably some of Shinsuke's last years in wrestling. I just want him to be more than mid-card, lower mid-card mystery partner. So yeah, really great for him. Super stoked for this. The Great Muta is just is back on our timelines. Going back to your first question though, for tag teams, yeah, man, it's absolutely time to unify the belts. I'm not sure why we still have two separate titles here for Mondays and Fridays. It's long overdue. In terms of actual contenders, legit contenders, I would actually say yes. I think the Brawling Brutes are, specifically Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. Do I think they're going to win at Crown Jewel? Absolutely not. But I think they've been built enough to be solid foils for the Usos, even if I know yeah, there's probably a very, very small likelihood, meaning 0%, that they're leaving Saudi Arabia with the belts. The Usos are not dropping. I know we're fantasy booking Roman not to drop till WrestleMania. I would argue the Usos probably wouldn't even drop the belts till WrestleMania either. They're just made men, like you said. So yeah, it's a real problem. I remember the days of NXT Black and Gold when there were so many tag teams, and the tag team matches on those takeovers would be the highlight of every show. So I don't know if you have to sort of start with NXT and get back to the old way, or on the main roster, just, really make it an emphasis to highlight tag teams. But I think that the talent's there. They have Legado. Obviously, we know they have Gable and Otis, who seems to be kind of pushed to the side. I can't believe the Street Profits are still together. That shocked me. I for sure thought they were breaking up after SummerSlam
months ago. Yeah,
months ago. We don't talk about it ever, but that's pretty shocking to me.
Yeah.
So I think the talent is there, Brad. I don't know that they need to just like sign a bunch of people and try to bring people in. I think there's talent there, but I would agree with you that currently, as constructed, it does seem pretty lackluster, and it just seems like a foregone conclusion, much like the main men's title, that the Usos are just going to retain until maybe April in Los Angeles at the earliest. That was a lot of words, though, man. I want to hear your thoughts on Shinsuke versus Muta in the new year. I want to hear your thoughts on tag teams. Tell me everything.
So I'm with you, man. I don't think they need to bring in new talent for the tag division. They already have. They brought in Legado, and they brought in Hit Row. Top Dollar. Oh my God. So Viking Raiders. That's what I wanted to bring up.
The Viking Raiders are right there.
Months building them as monster, unbeatable heels, and then did jack and shit with them. Are they hurt? Like, what's going on? Like, they're the ones that make the most sense right now to be the legitimate contenders, because they just murdered New Day for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So
we saw it in Tucson. We saw it with our own eyes.
Yeah. So I don't really understand why the holdup, but anyway, they have a whole bunch of tag teams that they're just having exist, and they get into feuds, and that's fine. Like, I don't mind the storytelling's there. That's great, but nobody feels like they're being built to be legitimate contenders. The Usos are so much above everybody that the Brawling Brutes, I'm sure it's going to be a fun match, but you have Butch out there. You don't have Pete Dunne out there. If you have Pete Dunne out there, I now believe they have a big shot, but you have Butch, and that's not, whatever. So no, I don't think right now, I just don't think they have a plan in place other than keep the Usos with the belts. At least it doesn't seem like it. Because if they do, like, why aren't you building toward that? Or why aren't you building a credible feud in the meantime? Because right now, all the feuding in the bloodline is in the bloodline. So the only thing I can see happening here is a quasi split where Sammy and Solo take on Jimmy and Jay for the belts because Roman demands it. And maybe that's where everybody turns on Sammy. I don't know.
Wow. It would seem to me that the end game is going to be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn taking the belts off the Usos. But like you said, Brad, with the excellent work the Bloodline is doing every single week, especially when Roman is there, it's like even heightened. I don't think that Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn tag match is going to happen until, probably WrestleMania, right? We still got several months of booking the Usos as champions.
Yeah, I can't see. I'm putting on Do Not Disturb. My watch is going crazy. I think there's a dog being pooped in the backyard right now. Lots of notifications, constant camera noticing things in the backyard. So the Great Muta showing up wearing the mask and stuff. Tyler, I have a list later on. You have a list later on, and the Great Muta is on my list in the honorable mentions. That dude scared the shit out of me when I was little. It's the face paint. It was the weird walk with the fingers forward. The taped fingers. He's still doing it. Like,
still doing it.
All
still
of it. The thing over the head. Like all of it. That scared me so much when I was little because of the mist. Like, the mist scared me. So to see that he's still wrestling, he wrestled in AEW, or he came in to save Sting at least. And to know that he's going to be taking on one of the best workers in the world, one of Japan's legends, Shinsuke Nakamura, where he made a name for himself, where he got over, where he became larger than life. I would say that's probably where he did his best work. To know that he's going to go back and do a match with the freaking Great Muta. My guess is that Shinsuke did not request this. My guess that the Great Muta requested this, and it was granted. I can't wait to hear the story behind this. I didn't think I'd be buying a Noah pay-per-view, but it's happening. It's like I am absolutely watching this.
Let's go. I might have to join you on there.
Yeah, you can literally join me if you want. January 1st. I can literally.
Yeah.
Yes, it's New Year's Day. So you are welcome. I'd say all are welcome, but that's not true. Don't come to my house, everybody.
Yeah, Brad, I can't wait for that. Speaking of things I can't wait for.
Well done,
Brad. It's time for another edition of A Rose from Paradise.
And now for A Rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
So another week, Brad, another set of episodes of Bachelor in Paradise. I try to make this as enjoyable for you and our audience as possible. I try to factor in that maybe 15% of our audience on GI actually follows or cares about the Bachelor franchise. So I have some quick notes for you. And then I think my gimmick is going to be, I'm going to give you these notes, but then ask you a general life question that relates back to this episode. So let's get into it. Some names. Shanae and Genevieve are BFFs. So Brad, these two feuded on Clayton's season of The Bachelor. Clayton was that football player from Missouri. And these two were just feuding throughout the season. They were just mortal enemies. And as it turns out, on the beach at Paradise, they've become best friends. Who would have thought? Jacob broke up with Jill. Jacob is I don't know if you remember him. He is the, I think, mortgage broker from Scottsdale.
Oh, right.
He's kind of going for like a Tarzan, Matt Riddle sort of vibe. He's never clothed. That's him. He broke up with Jill. Very sad. We like Jill. Andrew, who used to be into Teddy, is just living his best life and wants to stay at Paradise. And then the rumor here, this is my final note for you. The rumor here is that Brandon and Serene may have broken up. So they are pretty hot and heavy in Paradise right now, Brad. They've been a thing for a while. Serene is the former elementary school teacher from Oklahoma. And Brandon is, I don't know where he's from. I want to say he's from Portland, but he looks like Ricky Starks. He's the guy I've called Diet Absolute. That's this guy. So anyway, they have been like the, what's even a comparison? They've been like the Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde for the light-skinned community. They are we just have them on such a plateau right now, and rightfully so, because they seem to have a connection. Both seem like solid people, especially Serene. But I noticed through my own sleuthing that they do not follow each other on Twitter anymore. So I followed Serene. I finally had the gumption to do so. And I did not follow Brandon, but I saw his account on Twitter and noticed that they don't follow each other. So through my sleuthing and just reading up on this, there's some speculation that maybe they are no longer together. We will see. That is a storyline worth following. However, my question for you, thinking about the concept of Paradise, Brad, especially from what I've shared with you over these several weeks of recaps, we're seeing a lot of couples form, a lot of breakups happen. It's just like Bachelor on rapid speed. My question for you, I don't know if I've asked you this on air or even off air before. In your opinion, is it possible to maintain a friendship with an ex? And I ask you this realizing a few factors. One, you and Jess have been relationship goals for years now. So we're obviously thinking about a time before Jess here. And two, I am very adamant that is it possible? Potentially, but I just don't think it's a good idea, and I would argue that in most cases, it just doesn't make sense to remain friends with an ex, even if you hopefully respect them and still have some admiration for them. I'm not saying things have to end terribly. It can end amicably, but I think when you've been with a person romantically, more often than not, it just makes sense to leave that there, no ill will, and just move forward. So my question for you, what are your thoughts on this? Is it possible to still maintain friendships with exes?
Ooh, um, complicated question. So, number one, friendships. I don't think so. Um, Cordial relationships where you stay into some form of communication throughout the years. Yes, I have. Like I like seeing one of my ex-girlfriends from high school. I like seeing her and her family and her kids and seeing what they're all doing because I really I cared about their families. So that way I get to kind of see like what's going on with mom and dad and their brother and that kind of thing and their sister. Um and then with another one we talked recently because it was, hey, I just got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune stuff. So what did you have to do? What did you find that helped? And
Adult things.
yeah. So
Okay,
it
that sounds
wasn't
very
like
healthy.
it wasn't like let's catch up. It wasn't like let's talk about stuff. No, it was just
Can I ask you
that.
a question?
Yeah,
The dreaded text message.
yeah, because then it's like
Yeah,
it was always Facebook Messenger, which feels less personal and threatening,
agreed.
in my opinion. Um, so it was that's been fine. And then there's another friend of mine too that I don't know if we could say we were dating. We went on a couple of dates. I talk to her pretty regularly, at least once or twice a year. Um, Probably more than that actually, but it's usually about like either choral stuff or hey, I thought of you because I saw this thing and it made me laugh, or um I don't know, like remember when you said you wanted to punch that guy in the face? Well, I saw him at the whatever festival at college because that's where we met. Um so we're talking like maybe once or twice a year, maybe more than that with this one person, and then once or twice every 5 to 10 years with the other folks. So I think it's possible if you maintain a really, really healthy distance. But if it's like everyday communication, you cannot be a close friend with somebody. You cannot be a best. Like, no matter what you do, you can say you're happy for somebody. You could say all of this. There's always going to be some semblance of either jealousy or resentment or whatever. Even if you're like legit happy that they found somebody, you're still going to be like, well, God damn it. And you can't really do anything about that. That's just human nature. So, no, I don't think it is possible. I think it's possible to destroy a friendship by becoming romantically involved. And we say that all the time because what happens after that is you can't be friends with that person. So, no. Long answer long. No.
No, that was so insightful, man. I appreciate you sharing that. Like you, I should sort of add to my thoughts. Yeah, similarly, social media deal, like hey, I see you're happy now, and blah blah blah, amazing, and I even do that. But like you said, I think there is a fine line
Yeah.
between that and communication once in a while, happy birthday, so on and so forth, versus we talk all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just tough, man. I think when
Ooh,
you're
that's a
when you're
problem.
when you're
Yeah.
interested in someone,
Yeah.
maybe this is kind of a too hallmarky of me, but when you're interested in someone, you sort of have to make that decision of if I take this leap of faith, it's possible that our friendship is going to be gone, but do I think this person, do I think what we have is worth it enough to try to take that leap and sort of take that risk? You obviously did with Jess, and it worked out incredibly well. So you my friend are a role model for all of us trying to figure all of this out.
I appreciate you saying the lie. Our next I think it's time for you to hit me with an AEW question. I was like, what is our next thing? It's
Yeah,
you,
man.
Tyler.
You know it is. So I really enjoyed Dynamite this week. There were so many things happening. Again, I know we always try to put AEW in like a 20-minute window, which is incredibly tough. Of course, I could ask you about MJF and if you believe that we are witnessing a babyface turn, or if the devil is simply working his magic. He did call us devil worshippers this week, Brad.
We got any
And
devil worshippers out there?
and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all admit that we are.
Yep.
Um, So of course that could be worth broaching if you have some quick words on that, because it's a arguably the biggest storyline going right now in the company. But I want to ask you about the women's division. You mentioned Jade earlier. Super happy we saw her on Rampage. But we had 2 women's matches on AEW television this week. We had Ty Mello versus Madison Rayne on Rampage. Of course, Ty Mello was victorious. No issue there whatsoever. And we also had a match that I really enjoyed on Dynamite. We saw Riho taking on Jamie Hayter. I know Jamie Hayter is a favorite of yours and a growing favorite of the AEW faithful. I also really enjoy Riho as well. I know she's kind of polarizing, but man, I think she puts on bangers.
Best crossbody in the game.
Yes,
the full extension. Please. Like I'm just gonna destroy my body here if I miss.
Very Freya-esque.
Oh my god, it's like a backward C.
And the sequence they had this week, and then I'll get to my question. The sequence they had this week, Hayter and Riho, where I think Jamie Hayter was gonna like chokeslam her, but then Riho countered it into I think it was a code red that we saw. It was just it was beautiful. I think they have a lot of chemistry together.
Yeah.
But here's my question for you. So we saw these 2 matches this past week, and we're recognizing that Full Gear is less than a month away. What are the women's title matches at Full Gear going to be, Brad? I think we saw some seeds planted this past week in terms of maybe solidifying where we're going with Toni Storm at her title, Jade and her title. I want you to officially predict it for me, though. What matches do you want to see these 2 have at the paper?
God, I don't know. I really don't know. Tony and Jamie. Oh, I'm always going to want to see that. I think the world is always going to want to see that.
Jamie's coronation. Could it happen next month? Too soon?
I think that would be the best thing to happen to fuel the breakup between Jamie and Britt, because you could see Britt turning on Jamie to win the belt and then immediately making Jamie a babyface. And I think we would like that. See that run would be a lot of fun. I don't think they will. I don't know if Jamie has what they want in a women's champion right now.
Really?
The total package. Well, we'll get to it when we get to my question, Tyler.
Oh, okay. Say less.
Yeah, you'll understand what I mean here. I don't know when Thunder Rosa is coming back, so assuming that she's healthy by then, and I don't know if she will be healthy by then, it makes sense that she would want the unification match, the interim title being defended for the women's championship. See those 2 fight. Maybe it's Saraya. I don't know. I legitimately
Saraya versus Britt.
Saraya versus Britt makes total sense to me.
3 matches at Full Gear would rule. 3 women's matches.
Yeah, that'd be great. Jade, Nyla's got to be it, right? Like,
yeah, good. I'm so happy Nyla's on our screen. I think Jade winning is a foregone conclusion, right?
Nyla speaking and singing and being Nyla on her screen is why I'm happy, because Nyla was not Nyla for so long.
Yeah,
Nyla was Vicky Guerrero's, I don't know, client, and still is, and that's fine. But Nyla doesn't need somebody to give them a microphone. Like she needs to be on her own. So I'm really, really happy that Nyla's being Nyla. That makes me really happy.
Me too.
She's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, even if it's a foregone conclusion, them having a pay-per-view match would make my heart really happy.
I wouldn't even mind Nyla winning.
Wow. I think I know what our clip is for this week. Let me add this to the show notes. Please expand.
I don't want her to win. Don't get me wrong. I want Jade to keep it forever. But I think if you're gonna like do something to shock people, holy shit. Nyla beating Jade, but it would have to be some kind of tomfoolery from the outside. And I don't know who that would be from. A returning Chris Statlander doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know what Stat's knee status is. Stat's been out for a long time. But probably not that long. Was it like April or May? So probably not.
Maybe, I know they were building on the road to All Out. I want to say, maybe even May or June.
Yeah, so she's probably not going to be back until like All Out.
Yeah.
Probably not Revolution. I don't know. I don't know when she's going to be back. I know she's been walking and she's in a thing. So
Yeah. Well, earlier
um,
we mentioned injuries in AEW. We totally forgot Chris Statlander. I mean, she was super over, Brad, and then I would even argue that she
wow,
was going.
August 17th
Yeah, yeah,
was when she said she expects to miss at least 6 to 8 months of action after
sure,
undergoing knee
that
surgery
makes
for a
more
torn
sense. But
ACL.
I would
Jesus.
argue that you could have you could have had Chris Statlander defeat Jade at All Out for the TBS title, and I don't think that would have hindered Jade at all. I think
No.
Chris made so much sense. She's a believable challenger. She was mega hot, and
Yes. It was time for her, I think.
I don't think we would have Jade as champion right now. But injuries happen, and I don't think Jade
I think
is
Jade would
losing
be
this.
in the world title picture, though.
Yeah, I don't think Jade's losing this until Winter is coming or Revolution. I don't think there's any way Nyla beats her, but I want good things for Nyla always.
Yeah, same here. So I don't know what happens. I think Jade holds on to the title for a long time. I don't. Jade versus Nyla makes a lot of sense. After that, who cares? Because she's beaten everybody. I don't know that there's anybody she hasn't beaten yet.
No, it's tough. And you and I, can you believe this? Even earlier this year, I don't even want to guess the month, but you and I were kind of fantasy booking Sasha Banks taking the TBS title off of Jade
Yeah.
Cargill. I don't know that we can totally write that off yet, Brad, but I'm gonna say that's probably not gonna be the move here.
No, unless Sasha shows up at the next Forbidden Door, because that seems likely to that seems like the most likely pairing there. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I answered the other question, but Tony versus I don't know.
Versus Jamie.
They haven't Jamie, but I don't know because they haven't really been doing anything. It's all been around Soraya and Britt. So I have no idea what's happening in the women's division right now. Like it just seems like we have two champs. One of them we don't care about, even though they're having like an incredible title run. Like we do not care about as a whole, as AEW people, as fans, as all these things. We don't care about Toni Storm's run right now, even though she's having a legendary run. We're not talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. She's putting on banger after banger, and nobody gives a shit. How is that possible? Like that's crazy to me. We're talking about Jade. We're talking about Nyla. We're talking about Britt. We're talking about Soraya. Nobody's talking about Toni Storm. If I'm Toni Storm, my promo next week is nobody's talking about how awesome I am and what kind of a run I'm on, and cut just like a merciless shoot promo on everybody about how great she is, because she is legitimately great. She's the best champion we've had in a long time, in my opinion.
Maybe since
Women's
Sheeta.
champion, probably since Sheeta. Yeah, Sheeta
And that was
she was great.
early pandemic era. So
Right. So man, I guess I don't know who the next contender is. I would like it to be Jamie Hayter.
yeah. I just worry that if she, because I think it's going Tony versus Jamie. I think they clearly set that up on Dynamite this past week when Tony came out. Tony looked amazing as always, and sort of like showed the belt to Jamie from a distance. I think if Jamie keeps taking L's in big matches, though, I worry that how over she is could just fall off. Big match loss after big match loss after big match loss. I think you're playing with fire when you have someone who is so over in every town and is getting better, and you sort of shy away from giving them that big moment. That's why I thought putting the TNT title on Wardlow when they did was so crucial and was such a good decision, because if that dude just was not going to get that signature moment, I worry that his how over he was just going to dissipate. So yeah, I think Tony versus Jamie, but it's tough, Brad. If that is the match, I want to see so much more from Tony's run, because like you said, she is just absolutely delivering. But I also want Jamie to hold some gold. I worry that maybe the Brit feud has to come before she has gold. I don't know.
Here's the thought. What if Thunder Rosa comes back to lay out Toni Storm in the match? Jamie gets the tainted victory. That preserves Jamie as a heel. She still gets the big pop. Thunder Rosa turns heel.
I was going to say, yeah, crucial probably. Rosa turning heel.
And then maybe Thunder Rosa wants the title shot against Jamie Hayter as the first defense for Jamie, and Jamie beats Thunder Rosa because Tony gets involved. They have a grudge match.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of potential there to tell that story, and then it would be an interesting story with one of your top talents. or to your top talents that don't have to have a title involved, like what they did with Britt. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how the locker room views Thunder Rosa. It feels like very much like a less important isn't the word I'm looking for. Somebody with less pull than CM Punk, but that kind of level of, I don't know that I want to work with this person after stuff that was said. So
yeah, and that's what's been tricky about not only consuming the product as a fan, but the work we try to do here on GI is ultimately you and I think the fan base doesn't know exactly what has happened in all of these backstage incidents. I mean, in some stories we probably have a more confident sense in, and we have a feel for what happened, but ultimately it's between the folks who are there, whether it's Punk and the Elite versus the Elite, or Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker and potentially maybe other members of the locker room. It's so tough to distinguish, Brad. Like, we read the reports, so credit to Fightful and Wrestling Observer and other entities. It's so tough to determine, like, man, are they liked backstage? Are they not? Just because she may have some conflict, Thunder Rosa, that is, pronouns pal, just because she may have some conflict with people backstage, does that mean that I should not support her or want her in a title run or buy her action figure? I don't know, because you and I work with other people and we may have conflicts from time to time with other adults in our workplaces because we're human. It's really nuanced. Yeah. Like you though, there does seem to be, at least over summer, that comparison of like, oh, CM Punk, Thunder Rosa, do they have kind of a same vibe backstage? That's not awesome. I don't know, man. I think there's just so much talent here, and I'm just very eager to see what they do in the next month leading to the pay-per-view. Oh, you're on mute, my man. I'm so eager to hear your thoughts.
So I had like cough and snot and stuff.
At least it's not me, Brad. It's always me.
Terrible.
It's
terrible.
always me at work being told, "Hey, dude, you gotta unmute for the
for the
8th time this month."
I was writing down times in my notes. I had some. I said it's not too bad with COVID. I still have COVID, folks. So like, there's still some problems. You've probably heard me burping and slurping through this whole podcast at this point. Burpin and slurpin sounds like a tag
the
time
episode title. Yeah,
it sounds like a tagline from a Mid-South show, from like the I don't know.
I would agree.
It's like JR on the call. It's like, yeah, he's out there burping and slurping. Just dreadful. Okay, my question for you, my AEW question, is
ready.
Also about women's wrestling in AEW, Tyler. So I don't know if you picked up on this, but the last several weeks, I certainly have. We are not getting a lot of solo promo time. AEW only really gives solo promo time to Britt and Jade, and Britt hasn't even been getting a lot of solo promo time. It's been a lot of backstage interactions. We get the occasional vignette. Jade gets her own thing, and she should, because that's worked for her. When they give it to others, it gets torched online when it's not Jade and Britt, like torched, and in podcasts like ours, Tyler. What is the fix for women's character building in AEW? So I think the in-ring time has been great, but there's been in-ring promos. Saraya's done stuff. Britt's done stuff. Saraya's done stuff. Britt's done stuff. Saraya's done stuff. Britt's done stuff. There's a Jade promo. There's another Jade promo. There's another Jade promo. I haven't heard a peep from Toni Storm. That hasn't been about like a tag match she's going to be in with Shida. There's just not a lot of promo time. What is the fix for this?
Yeah. My first thought was get ROH on HBO Max imminently, please. Yes, because I remember Jericho Appreciation Society taking up a lot of airspace on AEW television this week.
Rampage especially. That theme, that intro played like 3 or 4 segments.
Menard, Ty. I want to say JAS had 2 different backstage promos this week, right? One on Dynamite, one on Rampage.
Yeah, they had
with
the one
full
on
group.
Well, they had the one on Rampage that was from the one on Dynamite, right? Like, it was after a Dynamite match. It was This is from last week or last Wednesday.
And Daniel Garcia is back, which again I think
that was a mistake. That was a dumb idea.
That's an aside. So my initial gut instinct was going, even before you finished your question, was going to be like, please get ROH on HBO imminently, which maybe we're leaning that direction. It seems like there's speculation that's what's going to happen, which would make sense for all parties involved. But if we take that out of the equation and just focus on what we can do with the 3 hours of television each week, I mean, if you're going to add more time, I feel like you have to take some of that time from other places on the show. I don't know, man. I think some of the feuds right now, notably what the JAS is doing, I think you could really adjust that and add more time for women. And like you said, not just women's in-ring action, but time for women in terms of promos and character building. I think you have a perfect example of someone you could start this with in Willow Nightingale. We love Willow, and I think she could be sort of that first talent to be ushered in to say, hey, we just officially signed you recently. Let's actually build your character. So you're not just a beloved wrestler because we just love you and your work, but there's actually a character that we can sink our teeth into. We need it, Brad. My initial instinct is to have less Jericho Appreciation Society and more time for women character building. But like you said, I think there are some signs of hope, notably with Saraya being signed. She obviously got a lot of promo time, really from the jump, right? From day one of her being there. It is just me solo now. Wow. I think Brad just texted me. Let's see. Oh, no.
Dude.
He's back. Your computer crashed.
Well, yeah, it's also really fast. At that time, it restarted.
I'm so glad you're back. I was answering your question, and then I saw your message. I didn't stall for very long.
Scared the hell out of me. So all of a sudden it went in the headphones, and we had this pink, like all these pink pixels all over the screen. And I was just like, what is happening? And then it just died.
The WWE hacker. That
was insane.
Yeah.
That scared me so much. I don't know if
I
that
bet
got
it
on
did.
camera, but I was like,
well, and you were, I saw that your name popped up on my phone here, but I didn't check it. And I thought you were just like really listening to my point and not moving, not blinking. And then it was clear, okay, like this man is no longer here. Yeah, man, I think you caught most of what I was saying. It was selfishly less JAS, more time for women, but also, like you said, with Saraya, I think we saw some positives when she signed with the company, that she was given a lot of airtime, and I think we're really building her character, and she's given the platform to do so. So I think if you can sort of replicate what you're doing there, but like you said, not just reserve that time for Britt and Saraya, but give a Willow Nightingale, give a Penelope Ford, right?
Yeah.
Name the talented woman who we want more for. I think it's just tough when you have only 3 hours and you're trying to get Jericho, you're trying to get Warjo, you're trying to get Eddie Kingston, right? I didn't really know what that Eddie Kingston backstage promo was this week, but
that's weird.
Hopefully it's leading to something, but that's also, 2 minutes of your program that you gave that wasn't involving the women. So anyway, man, what are your thoughts here? I think it needs to be a focus for TK and company.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like I've been saying this for months. Like ROH needs to go the hell away. I just need it off my screen. I don't care about ROH. I will care if it's separate. I really truly will. I'll give it my time. But when I'm watching AEW and ROH stuff is happening on here, I don't want to see it. I just don't care. All these factions that are ROH factions running in and screwing stuff up. I'm like, I understand you're trying to get your talent on TV. I totally get it. Get them off. Like put them on Dark, put them on Elevation. They're not going to be on this station anymore. So make them go away. I don't care. I know that's like terrible for me to say, because it sounds like I'm not supportive of the talent. They're getting paid anyway. Like, I don't know what the structure of their deals are, but I imagine they're getting paid regardless. Like Miro, I'm sure is getting paid while he's at home or at Sheamus's wedding. Like
great photos. Yeah, that popped me.
Yes. I just, my God, man, there's so much they could do here. Mm-hmm. You brought up Penelope Ford, and unfortunately Penelope is injured again.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep. She got hurt after the last match, and I don't know how long she'll be out. She might be out again for the same amount of time. Layla Hirsch is out injured. Chris Statlander is out injured. Ruby Soho is still out, presumably still injured, recovering from nose surgery or whatever.
Yeah, that intergender
tag
match, right?
Yes. So there's all this stuff happening where like you have all these top talents in the women's division, the talent that they built for a long period of time and then petered out. But Bunny's not wrestling. She's healthy. Let her go on there. Allie can cut a promo. Right now, all she does is bite at the camera and show up in Canada. Like I need some more of that because she's good. She's very good. Let her wrestle. Yeah, man, I'm struggling. I'm struggling a little bit here because you have these constant 4-on-4s or these 3-on-3s or these tag team matches to get all the women on the screen, but you don't really allow any of them to speak. And stuff that was working just inexplicably stopped. Serena Deeb should still be doing the 5-minute challenge to get other people on there because it's amazing. It makes her look like a total dick. And I love everything about what they were doing with that. You have Toni Storm, who can talk. She's not really talking unless it's, you know what? I'm backstage with you and I'm in your face. Let her cut a promo. Let her be Toni Storm. It's just always confrontational backstage stuff or in the ring stuff, except for Jade. Jade gets time and Jade gets vignettes. That's great. I'm of the belief that film a vignette for everybody. And then you can just stick it in there as a transition between matches rather than having to have people come out. So if you want to build something well and you want to have somebody talk, do the vignette thing. Do a recorded interview in the back, like a John Moxley interview. Moxley cuts in-ring promos, but they're always solo promos until somebody comes out to confront him. Otherwise, it's always I'm backstage, I'm pacing around like an animal, those kinds of things. Eddie Kingston is almost always backstage. You can do a bit of both, but the women seem to be only getting one thing. And when they are getting the other thing, it's almost exclusively Jade. I'm fine with Ty doing a promo in English because she really wants to, because she's working on her English. Just let her speak Spanish. Who cares? Like there's 9 other talent that are getting translated.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? So
Right.
just let them do it. You don't have to do it to make people go, wow, they can speak. Like I don't get that. Like,
yeah, it's
just
a very
let 'em
Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Like, we're not going to be able to put you on. You're not going to draw money with you, real money, if you can't speak the language. Yeah, it's pretty archaic. I agree.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's 2022. She speaks Spanish. She's Brazilian. You bring up Brazilian all the time. GR always manages to find a way to make sure everybody knows that they're beautiful in the ring before telling them how good they are.
Yeah. Well,
Not here for that.
I didn't text you this, but it popped me. I think I forget if maybe Taz was involved here, but it was like they said, yeah, Sammy's handsome and Ty is beautiful. I'd say they're a good looking couple. Yes, like okay,
that was
true.
Taz was not involved, but it was last on I think it was on Dynamite. Taz said something. And it was like, would you do it? No, just like flatly and popped everybody at the table.
Yeah.
The Dynamite crew right now is my favorite commentary crew in wrestling.
Mhm.
They're just so good. It was Pat and Michael Cole for a while because those two just played off each other so well. And Cole seems so free during that time. I'm hoping they can bring Pat back and then switch it up because Raw's not great right now. But my God, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole were a treat. Right now, Taz, Excalibur, and Shivani. Oh my God. Murderer's Row of great commentary team.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
every
exactly.
once in a while you get William Regal in there calling Excalibur some sort of tasty dish. Like just
It's a thing.
I want you to melt inside my mouth kind of stuff. Like all of that stuff has just been like
the erotic
increasingly more homoerotic and
very
I can get away with it, Mr. Shivani. I'm an eccentric Britishman. Like I love that. Like
regal.
I just called him a Britishman instead of an Englishman. Well, no, scary is what that was, Tyler. But speaking of scary, it is time for a new segment, probably this week only. Not like last segment, though. Not like last week when we talked about grad school for 10 minutes. No, an actual entertaining segment, not just to pop the boys. We're going to talk about our top 5 scariest or spookiest gimmicks. Tyler, you and I have been talking about this for a while.
We have.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're finally here. Why don't you plug what you got coming up, and also why don't you start us off? Give it to us.
Yeah, man. Thank you, my dear friend. So gimmickinfringementpod.com, that is our hub. You can find so much on there, but namely our written pieces, our articles. So Brad has a really great post there titled Focus. It's his most recent article. It's a very intimate look at his life and maybe some parts of his life that you don't know about. I've known the man for years, read the article, and learned a lot of new information about him. So first, check out Focus, gimmickinfringementpod.com, and then also you will see on there under the writing section that I have a piece that is all about the 5 scariest wrestlers of my lifetime, notably during my childhood. So that is leading us to this moment now, Brad. We didn't even discuss this. How do you want to do this? Do you want me to give you my 5 and then you give yours? Do you want to go back and forth like a draft? What are you feeling?
Do you have honorable mentions? Because I do.
I do. I have 1.
Okay, I have 2. So
Okay.
actually, I have 3. So
Oh my God.
I had a
Look
really
at
hard
this
time
guy.
building this list. I had a really hard time building this list because I was like,
Okay, I'm ready.
is it the ones that scared me the most? Is it the ones that
Yes.
people find scary?
You.
Or just my favorite scary ones?
Okay,
because
there's layers.
I have the Fiend on this list, but he didn't scare me. I thought he ruled, but he is one of my favorite scariest gimmicks. The other ones all pretty much scared me. So why don't we do our honorable mentions? I'll start since I have a bunch. Honorable mention number 1. This is the 8th on my list. 7 was only around for a cup of coffee. I remember watching this because like this dude in all white makeup with the hat that reminded me of the creepy old guy from Poltergeist 2 was in the ring. I didn't know that Standards and Practices pulled the original vignette for 7 because it had children in it. Number 7 on my list, second honorable mention, the Great Khali. Squishing Rey Mysterio's head scared the ever-living bleep out of me, man. Terrifying. Like I thought he died. I thought he was a dead man. And then finally, I already mentioned on the podcast, the Great Muta. The Great Muta used to come out with not the mask, but he'd come out with face paint, and then obviously the Muta mist with the creepy walk and how just aggressive he was in the ring. He was terrifying to me because I never knew if he was going to turn on Sting or if he was going to do like, is he a heel? Is he a good guy? He's just kind of terrifying. And that was kind of it for me. So those are my honorable mentions for this list. Tyler, what is your honorable mention?
That was quite the list, man. I just have one name on here, Mordecai. I don't know if you remember this dude, Brad. He debuted in 2004. And he actually debuted and defeated Scotty 2 Hotty, which popped me. I think it was at Judgment Day. The link is in the article on our site. But anyway, man, I have these vague memories of him also dressing in all white, ironically, blonde hair, blonde goatee. He would later become the vampire Kevin Thorne in WWE's reboot of ECW. So I actually ended up seeing him live. Yeah, and I didn't realize it was the same guy initially, but
yeah, I remember Kevin Thorne.
Yeah, Kevin Thorne. I forget he had a manager too, and it was also a very Halloween-esque gimmick. But yeah, Mordecai, man, he was really set up to be Undertaker's next big feud, and it's just ironic that he came in with all of this hype, and I think his actual career in WWE as Mordecai probably left a bit to be desired if you're going to be placed to face the dead man. But yeah, man, he was just really creepy to me. The entrance, the white hood, the little, like, not scepter, but the little gimmick he came out with. It was just all very creepy and kind of some maybe religious undertones. Maybe this guy is a KKK local chapter member, maybe not. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and it was just quite the experience watching this back now as a grown man versus when I was, say, 10 or 11 and terrified of this guy. So Mordecai was my only honorable mention.
All right, sweet. So we're going to move on to we'll do descending order. My number 5 on my list is The Undertaker. it was not Kane for me. It was The Undertaker, because I was very young when he debuted. It was when I was still watching wrestling pretty regularly, and to see this dude with like the gray gloves and the purple and the torn up shirt and the look, because he had a totally different look when he first got there than, you know, in the later 90s, where all of his hair was long. He had like bangs, and everything was just a little bit different, more cartoonish, but still like terrifying cartoonish. He scared the hell out of me. Paul Bearer scared the hell out of me as well. Those two together in the early 90s was terrifying for me.
Yeah, that's a fantastic call. So my number 5 is Psycho Sid Vicious. Specifically, Sid in WCW. I remember having a VHS tape. I had so many wrestling VHS tapes when I was younger, but I had this one that was just dedicated to Sid Vicious. It was like his highlight reel in WCW. So it was a mash of some of his matches, some of his backstage promos, vignettes, etc. This dude, I swore at the time, was the tallest man I had ever seen in my life. His chest just like ran a mile from one side to the other. Big boots, choke slams, a lot of intensity. Yeah, this guy was incredibly intimidating.
Number 4, great call on that one. Number 4 for me, Abdullah the Butcher.
Ooh, great.
Yes.
I'm loving this list.
Abdullah.
He's not on mine, but I love that.
Ooh, that dude was scary. The biting, the Moxley-esque biting, only so much more threatening and intimidating. Enormous human being. And the thing that always freaked me out the most about him, besides the fact that he was always bleeding, was where he was always bleeding. That dude's forehead is carved up from all the blading that never probably healed properly. My guess is that it was like hodgepodge healings, but he's got all these lines on his forehead from all the blade jobs. And just to see that guy with like legitimate scars all over his face, utterly terrifying, Tyler. That dude scared the hell out of me. His last name's the Butcher, and he's all carved up. It's like Batman level scary, like villain scary.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll hear no argument here. My 4th choice is the Boogeyman. So also, this is ironic. He debuted a year after Mordecai, so I'm taking us back to 2005 here, Brad. The overall presentation, maybe a little too B-movie horror-esque for some, but again, me as an 11 or 12-year-old really worked the mannerisms, like the zombie kind of shimmy, the hitting your head with a clock during the entrance.
That's right.
The worm consumption, right? The worm eating as well. This dude was just... I don't remember a character quite like him before. I really enjoyed it. I thought the dude should have had a movie at some point. The dude was scary, and I think deserves to have a spot here in this conversation.
Yeah, those two that you mentioned were a little bit... That was when I wasn't watching wrestling anymore, so I caught them probably a year or two ago. And for the first time, so the Mordecai, Kevin Thorne, especially Kevin Thorne, like I was like, what is this Diet Undertaker crap? It was like Gangrel meets Jesus. I don't know what's happening here. With all the crosses and stuff. And
accurate.
And then who did you just mention? I'm already COVID.
Oh, the Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman.
Yeah.
The worm thing got me, but I just thought he was just like Papa Shango. Like I thought it was just
true,
sort of the same character, but eating worms.
Yeah, a lot of these people are kind of like retreads of
much darker, but still the same voodoo thing, still the same creepy thing, the zombie thing, which is more of the Haitian zombie thing than a zombie thing. But I thought that was still really cool. I thought about putting the Boogeyman on the list. He showed up on a lot of lists when I was Googling things.
He was jacked as well. Like the dude.
Yes.
The dude was an
yoked.
imposing presence.
Yes. My number 3, Tyler, I just mentioned him, is Gangrel. Gangrel coming up out of the floor lift, laughing, pre-brewed especially, just covered in blood. And it wasn't the laughing and the sunglasses, it was when he took them off and you could see his eyes. And he would get mad, his face would sort of contort, and he had the fangs. This was like peak Buffy the Vampire Slayer time. So to see that thing on my screen wrestling people it was scary.
Phenomenal call. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. Yeah, the Brood should have been in my honorable mentions list. I'm going to be quick with this one, Brad. My number 3 are the Mean Street Posse. And thought process here is about myself. Is they're just a different kind of scary. These dudes give me Armitage, party guests and Get Out vibes. Very scary. They're my number 3. Shane and company.
Yeah, it's fun.
Proud of that.
It's a good one. My number 2, scary in a good way. Scary in a good way. I have The Fiend as my number 2. He did not scare me. I thought it was hella creepy, and I could see why people would be frightened of it. But I kept going, man, this is awesome. So I love The Fiend. I hope we see Fiend again at some point. I hope they use him correctly, but I would love to see The Fiend again. So number 2 is The Fiend.
Yeah, this is my biggest regret by far. I should have added The Fiend here somewhere. Like you said, as an adult seeing it, not scary, but in terms of an appreciation for the character, amazing. We also have Uncle Howdy now, who is also very creepy. So
yes, really creepy.
We didn't even talk about Bray. Time will tell there.
Yeah.
My number 2, Brad, this is also a throwback. I don't know if you remember this guy, Giant Gonzalez.
Yes.
Probably my most surprising choice. He only had a 5-year run in professional wrestling. I learned through some quick Googling that former basketball player, former actor, unfortunately no longer with us. But that match he had versus Undertaker at WrestleMania, I think it was in 1993. The bodysuit he wore made him even more scary and intimidating to me. It was like the painted bodysuit with the abs and the
that's right,
thigh muscles.
Yeah.
It just made him incredibly scary to me. So his sheer presence, he was listed at 8 feet tall, I think 460 pounds.
Yes.
So just the whole presentation was really working for me.
That's a great one. Giant Gonzalez is great. Finally, my number 1. This one haunted my dreams for a while. I think nobody will be surprised by your number 1 because you've said it several times on the show before, but he was going to be on my list. I was going to honorable mention him. Jake the Snake Roberts is my number 1.
Wow. I did not see that coming.
Never got over the Randy Savage pinned in the ropes while an effing King Cobra latched onto his arm. As a kid, you don't know about like defanging and that kind of stuff for a snake. That snake was that was a legit snake that was just biting Randy Savage's arm. Holy shit. Like, that's a King Cobra. I was shocked by that. So yeah, man, I'll never get that out of my head because that dude just scared me because I just figured he was willing to kill anybody. Like, he's gonna murder Hulk Hogan. He's gonna murder Randy Savage. He's gonna murder entire families of people. I guess if we wanted to go that route, we could also say that about Brian Pillman in WWF. But yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts scared the bleep out of me when I was little.
Man, I love that we've had completely different lists.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe our viewers and listeners are better at this. I don't know that we've had any overlap.
I don't think we have
whatsoever, which we did not predict, and frankly is a little surprising to me in the best way.
And neither of us had Mayor Kane.
No, I know. I can't believe Kane. Man, there's been so many great spooky gimmicks. Anyway, I'm scarier now. Thank you, as Mayor Jacobs. So yeah, I love everything about what we're doing here, Brad. My number 1 to conclude is, as you said, no surprise, Big Van Vader. I'm a little upset that he didn't make your official list because I was absolutely terrified of this guy. The Boy Meets World cameo helped a little bit, but Brad, the presence, the theme music, that accessory he had, especially during his Japan days, like the full
the Vader
not
mask,
headdress, but the Vader
it's like a samurai type thing.
Yeah, the dude was just an absolute ball of intimidation. Like, not the tallest guy, definitely not 8 feet, but just stocky and absolute brick house. The red and black gear, kind of similar to Kane, I guess, in that way. This dude, by far my number 1. This was not a difficult choice for me. He just he just elicited so much fear in me as a kid. No, thank you.
I'm trying to find what this thing was called. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that it's like a samurai mask that has devil horns and it has shoulder pads and stuff.
Terrifying.
And I'm looking at it right now. Apparently, it was created and given to Vader. This was from a tweet when Big Van Vader was still with us with Leon. Antonio Inoki is the one that created it and gave it to him.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I just saw that on his Twitter account. I think that's really
awesome.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Inoki, man. Just
Another legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler, what are you looking forward to this week?
Yeah, man, Brad, we have a few things quickly here. I try to make sure I write them down so that I don't forget. On the work side of things, I am leading a campus visit this week. So some students from one of our local districts, one of our biggest districts, are visiting our campus that I'm based out of at ASU. So that is on Tuesday of this week. I need to retrieve a purchasing card tomorrow. I need to just make sure all of the pieces are properly in place. So I know, as you know, coordinating field trips and purchases of pizza, it's just very time consuming, but I'm hoping it all pays off. Very much looking forward to that. White Lotus season 2 is back on HBO. As we record, it's going to be on tonight. So super stoked there. And then finally, House Party is back. I didn't send you this, Brad. I somehow came across this yesterday. They are remaking House Party. LeBron has his hands in this. It's basically two guys who clean this mansion decide that they're going to throw a party. They decide this after they discover the person's house who they're cleaning is LeBron James. So I don't know how I feel about this trailer. It gives me straight to DVD vibes, but apparently it's going to be in theaters. I'm a big fan of the original House Party movie. So I'm looking forward to just seeing if there's increased dialogue about this film, because I'm feeling a bit conflicted. I'm going to support it for the culture, but I'm also walking in knowing that I may regret spending $10 to $11 on seeing this when I could just wait for it to stream a few months from now. And then finally, Brad, Crown Jewel. Speaking of things I have conflicting feelings about on the entertainment side, still not sure if I'm going to watch this live. I'll be tempted to, because it's going to be Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Great time for wrestling. But we have conflicting feelings for reasons. But that should be pretty noteworthy, man. Pretty stacked card. Interested to see if Bayley ends up defeating Bianca Belair. As the resident Bianca stan of GI, I hope not, but I also do love Bayley. Roman versus Logan Paul, that is, should be interesting. Total spectacle match, but again, I think we know Roman's gonna retain his title. So be interested to see the takeaways from that. Not sure if I'm gonna watch it quite yet. So pretty loaded week on my end. What say you? Oh man, I'm sure you're saying great things, but
every time I had to look at House Party 2. Well, hopefully not next week when I'm not sick. House Party 2. I had to look up the cast. I also had to mute because the dog is barking and I hear Freya singing.
Shout out Winnie.
Incredibly loud right now. So I wouldn't, the less that was on here, the better. So I was looking up the cast and I was like, if Kid and Play aren't in this, I don't want this.
They
this
make a cameo. Yeah.
And I saw immediately when I looked it up, it was like, they were the first two people listed on the cast. Like, all right. Nice. Unless I'm wrong. So what is it called?
Just House Party. So okay, I guess they got the rights for it, and it's simply just House Party.
Is it 2022 or 2023?
Oh, yeah. They didn't put a release date on the trailer. I think it just said coming soon.
I'm going to say 2023 then, probably.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
Kid and Play make a cameo at the very least.
Okay, good, because I was like, this can't happen.
I didn't recognize any of the actors. There were more celebrity cameos than anything. Anthony Davis, Snoop Dogg, etc. I didn't recognize any of the main actors.
Lester. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these people. A couple of names on here that
I'm going to send you the trailer. It's definitely rated R, but for sure. I think you'll pop for a few scenes, but I
can't believe
I'll send it to you.
The thing. Yeah, I was like, if they're not involved in some way, then they made an egregious error. Okay, so this week, what I'm looking forward to is not really going back to work, but going back to work. I just I've had time away and I'm like, I'm kind of good. So I don't know what that means. Tomorrow I'm getting a new monitor. Can't wait. 4K City. Gonna actually be able to see things on my monitor that aren't all pixelated and sad. Really, 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 really excited about that. I'm looking forward to more Lego building. Gonna do that as soon as I'm done here, probably. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm going to edit and then I'm going to go do that. Like you, Crown Jewel. Can't wait for that. And I know there's one more thing. Oh, Halloween should be fun. So the English department is doing a costume tomorrow. I'm not revealing any spoilers since, it'll air tomorrow. They're all doing English related costumes. So whatever it might be. And I was like, I always kind of go simple and I always go pun. Like I did the copycat thing. I think it was last year, where I just stapled a copy of a cat to my shirt in a couple of different places. And then I went as a thesaurus one year where I stapled words to a shirt and wore a dinosaur hat.
I like that one.
That one was a fun one. But I've also been like, I've also been a couple of characters, and like I've been Garth. I've been, oh God, what the neighbor on The Simpsons, Ned Flanders. I've been a bunch of different people. And tomorrow I bought transfer paper so that I could iron it on, print out a word and iron it on. And what I was going to do is justified with an arrow, and I was going to iron it on to my left sleeve of a long sleeve plain t-shirt so I could be left hand justified. And I thought that would be funny as hell.
The creativity is off the charts.
Yeah, that one I was like, nobody's gonna have it.
No one's going
Somebody
to,
else
nope.
is gonna, it'll be funny, and if not, it'll pop me. I don't care. So I thought that would be really good. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed at the school right now, so I won't be able to partake. But I still kind of want to make this shirt and just make it and then keep it up in the closet for a rainy day, and dust that off when I need a Halloween costume every once in a while.
Yeah, I love it, man. Halloween week, big week for entertainment, big week for wrestling. Brad, this was a blast.
Absolutely.
I so enjoyed this episode. What a loaded edition of GI as always. If you haven't already, highly recommend you follow Brad. He is at Winduster. I am at Tyler J. McDowell, and we are at GI Pod 19. Of course, a proud member of the 19 Media Group Network. They are at 19mediagroup.com, at 19M Group on Twitter. We thank you so much for being here. We hope you had as much fun as we did, and we will see you on the next episode.
Hey, before you go, everybody, make sure you check out Peelcast. We have a new episode of Peelcast dropping on Tuesday, November 1st. It's November. I'll say it again. It's November on Tuesday. Holy shit. So please go there, check it out. And if you want any 19 Media merch, we will make sure the link is in our linker and our bio, and I will update the website. Speaking of updated the website, there are 2 pages on the website. If you haven't checked them out yet, we now have a 19 Media page where you can find all of our podcasts up from 19 Media Group. We have our own separate page for Gimmick Infringement for the video and the audio, because we deserve it, damn it. And 19 Media also has all their stuff there. We also have the Salty Thoughts of Donnie Yu, friend of the pod, that is on there. Please check out that new page. The site looks pretty good right now. More to come. Like Tyler said, check out his piece. Mine's up there that's about focus and really struggling with ADHD and trying to figure out life through that lens. Give those things a look. Give those things a share. We appreciate the support. We had a lot of listeners last week. We have had a lot of site traffic. So we appreciate you checking those things out and sharing and subscribing and letting people know that it's worth a listen. We really appreciate that.
Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.